that.
Dump, dump, dump.
Going to spin to the opposite side and take his stomach
yes.
extruded around it.
Okay. So this is a sea star. Looks like Circeus or Pullus, and it's sort of eating its way to the top. They often will begin at the bottom and crawl up, devouring the tissues on these bamboo corals. We just noted the other day a similar sea star in a different genus, Hippisteria, which had done something similar, but instead of devouring everything in its path, it had only devoured the polyps inside sort of these specific capsules that were on the coral. But in this case, it looks like it's just taking a nice beeline up to the top. These often stay perched on these, eating them just, they don't just sort of eat a little and then move off. They stay on the entire colony for quite a long time. And I believe Scott actually observed another species in this genus from the Atlantic feeding on another coral called Paragorgia. And they remained on the coral for over a year, the same individuals. So sea stars don't need to move quickly. So it probably, for all we know, on the surface right next to the tube feet. And so there are 8 furrow-spines, 1 subambulacral, and several other accessory spines on the adambulacral plate. This one, by the way, is named for deep-sea biologist Craig Young. And at the time, I didn't know that they were coral eaters, so sorry. But anyway, and thank you, my little Circeus or starfish, for giving me something to enjoy today.
Okay, you want to just slow pan up this talk? Just a little bit. There's good. Okay, pulling out.
So, Scott, did you tell us what its prey was?
No, I had to close my eyes. I couldn't watch. Yeah, I was trying to get a good look at the sclera. It seemed like we would have a lot of time to do that, but my video froze at the wrong time. Get a really good look.
Well, we're definitely getting steeper, and we're definitely sediment-free and consolidated.
Is that a shrimp down there on the? There's that red bit.
Go ahead and
right there.
Let's take a quick. Yeah, nematocarcinus.
Nematocarcinus.
Yeah.
Can you sit down? Maybe Mary can give us a description.
Yeah, that's an old friend. We can move on.
All right, come on out.
So, Chris Small, we often hear that we don't really know what a lot of things down here eat, or if we do, we've only figured it out recently. Is that just due to a lack of samples? Because with shallower water animals, we frequently do gut content, so then you know kind of exactly what it is.
That's true. A lot of times, deep sea species have a slightly different diet, or one can't assume that they have the same kind of diet. So, but that said, we have actually looked at gut contents of deep sea animals as well. I think the problem is trying to make the direct correlation between feeding and what happens to be in the gut. Because, for example, brittle stars live on the surface of the deep sea floor, and they've opened up their guts and they found, for example, fish scales and fragments of things, and they just thought that those were detritivores and that they just sort of pushed fish stuff into their mouth. And then a few years ago, they saw them actually capturing lanternfish, myctophids, and so forth. So, it was kind of misleading, and that can happen the other way around as well, where things that were thought to be predatory might actually turn out to just be detritivores.
Yeah, come on in, Roland.
That is a fairly sorry bolosoma. It's a very young one, though. So not really
co-pilot,
sorry.
as soon as we're
Is that a hermit
done
crab
with this
on it?
heading
I
change,
think so.
let's get going again.
Yeah, copy that.
Yep,
I think
hermit crab.
Bearing.
good. Yeah,
Look at
unless you want to
that.
change it,
I
but
don't know if we
tends to
get a
look
good
fine.
enough look
That's
for Mary to
still
take
the
a
bearing
stab
to my
at it.
waypoint,
I
but
can
whatever's
get closer.
local uphill
Come on
is
out,
fine.
Yeah, 10's great. Let's keep it then.
Sorry, Pilot, I had too much talking to
That's
my ear.
about 10 centimeters tall. Yeah, that's
ROV
a pretty
nav, the
small
heading
bolosoma,
change is
but it's not
complete.
horribly
Thank you,
small.
Bridge. Are you ready for a move?
Yes, sir, we are.
There's another big
Let's
crinoid
do
in the
range
background.
30 meters, bearing
One of these
010
days I'm
degrees,
gonna have
speed
to
0.2
Follow
knots.
up on
Go ahead in, Roland.
that observation that they were getting
Range
bigger.
30 meters,
That might be
bearing
interesting.
010, speed 0.2.
Good copy.
Hey.
Most of the hermit get at this depth belong to a family called the Parapaguridae, but that fellow is way too small for me to identify.
Well, you're getting a good look,
Your
Matt.
friend Matt Carson is
Yeah,
they're
Mary.
always recognizable by those long legs, but to identify the species, you have to count those tiny teeth on the rostrum, and you just can't see that.
Oh,
Wanna
okay.
get right
So
on
even
top
this
of it?
view isn't going to help you. Okay.
Oh, the hermit crab?
Yeah. Yeah, we just got to zoom in on it just now. Didn't know if that would help out or not.
ROV nav, move initiated.
They're
Thank
going to
you,
try
Bridge.
to sit down here another time, Mary, and see if they can get you as tight a view as possible.
All right, Roland. Go ahead.
Got something on the one claw.
So just gelatinous
Yeah.
goo.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to
No,
be
that's it,
descriptive
Mary. I
enough.
think.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll just
come on out. When you're good.
call it a pagurid, I believe. Not a parapagurid, but a pagurid, if I'm not mistaken.
The superfamily is called the Paguroidea. So if you don't know what kind of a hermit crab it is, you can always call it a Paguroidea.
Okay, thank you.
They will eat the gelatinous goo.
They will or they won't?
Oh, they sure will.
Oh. Oh, one of your cukes.
Come on in, Roland.
I always love these. Yeah, so sea cucumber in the family Synallactidae, I think. Transparent body wall, or translucent body wall, I should say. The mouth is directed, I think it's the one on the left-hand side, and essentially you see a lot of the sediment adjacent to it. There's lots of delightful edible goo in that sediment, and that's what the sea cucumber is eating. It basically sort of there's a bunch of feeding arms right around the mouth. That's sort of where the left side of the animal is directed, and it's just sort of tossing all of that sediment and goo into its intestine, into its mouth, and all of that you can see clearly through the body wall, and it digests and pulls out all the nutrients, and after a while it just kind of poops out all of the clean sediment, so it's analogous to an earthworm. And this serves an important function in the sort of the cycling of the bottom nutrients, as well as clean, sort of aerates
Come on
the
out.
sediment, makes it available and more processes it for sort of burrowing animals to move around in. So important, if not a little unusual. Oh, what's this white thing?
Let's get
Is
this
it a
guy.
sponge?
Come on in.
Yeah.
Little bolosoma.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a sponge. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Come in tight.
It's a bolosoma, I think. Backside. Yes, it is. That's good, pilot. Thank
Okay,
you.
come on out. So just an FYI, Chris, I think the current has decreased.
That's not good news, pilot.
Oh, there's a big coral out there.
There is? Where? Oh! It's funny you should bring that up, and the biggest coral of the day shows up.
Right, let's zoom this real quick.
Yeah, what is that?
Dead,
Oh,
And another dead
dead
stock.
come in tight. Oh, just stopped. Alright, coming up.
Alright, here we go.
Pilot, you want me to rotate to keep you in view as you approach
Sure,
that?
do you want to?
Yeah, I think that's not a problem.
Yeah, you're gonna kind of move past him while he's
Yeah.
looking at it.
I think
Or,
it's one of
Up
Scott's
even with him at least.
Come on in.
babies here. It sure is.
Yeah, this looks like it may be the second colony we've seen today of one of these
ROV nav. Bridge. Move complete.
fan-like
Thank you,
Jason type bamboo corals. You can see that it is branching from the nodes. The tissue is very white. It's reflective, which suggests that there's a lot of scales embedded in the tissue. This, I'm pretty sure, belongs to, for as near as we can tell based on the genetics, we don't know what species it is, but it's probably in this genus that was recently described, I think in 2012 by Phil Alderslade down in Australia and Tasmania, and Kathy McFadden from Harvey Mudd College in Southern California.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Chris, I can't hear you anymore. I don't know if your mic is off or moved.
You mean me or Kelly?
You can hear Chris Maud just fine. I can't hear Chris Kelly.
I was formulating my next joke, so I'm glad you distracted me from it. So, yeah, I was being quiet. Oh, look at this. What do we got on the... Oh, it's the Sophies, huh?
I think it's that same large Ophiocanthid. Very handsome animals, I must say.
Well, yeah, it is. That pink
Wow, look
center.
at them
Wow,
all.
there's a whole bunch of them.
Huh. Yeah, they're always on the ground. They're never... I mean, this particular one, I think, if it's the same one. These are smaller. Well, these are different from...
This observation, Chris, it, I think, highlights that there are certain species that become associates of corals and sponges, and there are other species that don't. There's a clear difference in the biology of these different species of ophiuroid and all these other associates. All these animals are looking for very specific habitats, which shows the importance when we find these corals and sponges growing on the seamounts, because they have an enhancing effect on the diversity.
Yeah, these look sort of like Ophioplenthaka. Maybe they just jumped. But earlier today, we certainly did see a different genus of Ophiocanthid that didn't have anything to do with corals at all. But that said, who knows how many different types of behavioral differences are present amongst all of these different Ophiocanthids associated with these corals. There's a lot of variation simply from morphology. It's a ripe area for study, to be sure.
Are you clear?
Oh, so you
come
go
on
and...
I'm happy.
So you brought the flag, didn't you?
The what?
Well, when we get to the summit, we're going to plant a flag, aren't we? I thought you had the flag. You said you had the flag this morning when we woke up. But
Yeah,
you
we
don't.
have the flag
Yeah,
stored
sure.
to the left of the temp probe this morning.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah, pilot, I'll start
Thank you.
to rotate.
I gave it to Aquaman. He's going to meet us there.
Port
You
is
can do
driving
like some of the
right.
islanders and stack of rocks on top of the mountain.
There we go.
I like that.
We could. What
what's
is that?
Oh, it's a
That's
stock
just-
crinoid.
Oh, all right.
I know.
Sorry. It looked like he was moving
I
like
know.
an octopus.
I
Look,
thought
he's-
it was something coming towards us.
These guys are laughing at us.
Well, I think it was because we said it at exactly the same time.
You
You
got me
guys
all.
are very harmonious.
Yeah.
All right, pilot, I'm
That
back.
looks
You
like
do
an
that.
interesting
That's
story.
great.
To the
People will
bottom
start
left of
thinking
that
about
rock.
us for one another now.
Did you see that one?
What are you talking about?
Went off screen bottom.
What was it?
Sponge matte stuff. It should be coming to view right about now, right there.
Good.
Go ahead.
Possibly a dead sponge stock down there.
Yeah, I don't
Is
think
that biomatter or is that
Dead sponge.
that's fibers from a long dead polyopogon sponge, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming out.
Well, something used to live there.
We've been going a little
Now it's a
slow the
vacant,
past hour. A lot
rundown
of that
house
is
for vagrant brittle
shifting and
starch.
changes,
That's what it
but-
is.
Try to make some progress when you can.
So there's more of these plexaurids showing up. That's one thing that's starting to become more abundant. That is one small Iridogorgia, not very healthy looking.
More stocked crinoids.
There's
More stocked crinoids. It's always a good sign.
I think there's
Ready
a
for move,
little
co-pilot?
current here, pilot, isn't there? I thought I saw
Yeah,
part
pilot's
of it.
out 4-0
Yeah, I
my
think there's
camera.
a little bit.
We're
It's
good.
nowhere near what it was.
Still 010.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. I
Great.
oh, that's
Hey.
interesting. Yeah, let's take a look at
Bridge,
this.
nav.
So this looks like, yeah, it is pro-isocrinus.
This
but,
is the bridge.
There
Go
are
ahead.
hydroids growing on the
Another
stalk.
move, please. 30 meters. Bearing
Can you zoom in on
010.
the,
Speed 0.2
the fuzzy
knots.
Stuff
Come
on
on
the
in.
stalk. Huh.
Wow, look at that.
I'll have to show that.
That's
like there was
30
a leech or
meters.
something,
Bearing
on the,
010,
stalk
speed
above the
0.2.
hydroid.
Yeah.
Good copy.
There was?
Well, the thing that's interesting is I think these are supposed to be covered by skin. So maybe there's something on the lower end where the stalk has been denuded or something, or perhaps under attack.
Kind of a pretty sight with all of these polyps sticking out, isn't it? Reminds me of Christmas or something. I don't know why.
See, this is where the perspective is of the critter. I mean, this is, to me, it's sort of like if I woke up and, oh, there's a brittle star.
ROV
Is this
nav
the
moving
live
initiative.
tissue here,
Thank you,
Chris?
I
On the
think
right?
so. I'll honestly have to check. This is sort of like if I woke up and found a bunch of big bugs living on my skin. So
You don't think it's why the head looks a little stunted, do you?
hard to say. It could have just been small before, but yeah, it could easily be that it's stunted. Or is that something? Just something in the current, or is that something
Yeah,
actually swimming?
that was what Bruce was pointing
Oh,
out. He
I
thought
see.
it was a leech, but I think it's just a little bit
Yeah.
of junk
Yeah.
attached onto it.
Yeah. Well, you can see. Is that the? Oh no, it's not. Okay, it's just one of the pinnules. Yeah, this is good. Thank you. We can move on. I think.
Coming out.
We frequently see some of the stocked crinoids in other genera, like Bathycrinus, with the epizoites growing on the stalk, but I've never seen it on that one. So that's interesting. We don't even see the xenophyophorians anymore, Chris. Would you scare them all off?
Well, here's a rock pen, I think, or something like that. Yeah, another rock pen.
Coming in.
There's things here.
Just a double. Oh, there. Oh. Oh, okay. I was confused. I see.
So if you just joined us, we actually collected one of these today. That's our one biologic. And it was stuck or adhered. I mean, it's sort of like a suction grip, far stronger than we expected to the substrate. So the pilot had a struggle to pull them off. Another one of the yellow plexaurids.
Ooh, another starfish.
Hey, come on in, Roland.
He looks hungry.
This is the one we collected a few days, literally I think the second day that we were out. This is a species of Bathy ceramaster. This is a genus I actually described about a couple of years ago. The specimen that I collected before suggested that this is a different species from the one that occurs. The first species that I described is from the the west coast of North America, called Bathy ceramaster elegans, and there's some evidence that this is most likely a separate species, but they're widely occurring, so it's entirely possible it's the same thing across just a different, just a wide range. But I think the characters are enough to warrant that the one that I have is a separate species. But they appear to be detritivores or spongivores or something in that general oeuvre. So, great. Thank you.
All right, come on up.
Lasers. They're already on.
They're on. Do you want them off?
I was just waiting for him to sweep across
10
it.
centimeters across, right? Arm tipped, arm
Handsome.
tipped.
Yeah, it's a handsome animal.
Yeah.
A classic
Just a
goniasterid.
little reminder, those red dots are 10 centimeters apart, and how we can get measurements down here. Oh, another big one. And a smaller one, but let's see. It's probably the same bamboo, but let's get up here and take a look. And yellow plexaurid to the right of it, but could at least do a associate check on this
This
coral.
thing in the sediment pool looks kind of... oh, well.
Yeah, that looks kind of wet, Chris.
Well, it was really interesting. Look, it has all these like mucus things coming off of it.
Yeah.
I bet if we had like a little extra like ROV to go in there, there'd be all sorts of cool things there. And the D2 would have the Cereos would have the D2, and the D2 would have its own ROV.
Okay, associate watch. Oh, we got a different group of associates on this bamboo.
That's interesting. Barnacles. Kind of.
There's not much. You think that was denuded before the barnacles arrived, or did they cause the denuding of the tissue there?
I've never known barnacles to be aggressively, sort of, not invasive is the wrong word, but to sort of take away tissue like that.
So, Scott, I'll bet this
that's
is.
a good question. What came first, the barnacle or the exposed skeleton? I've always assumed that something has caused the skeleton to be exposed to allow the barnacle larva to settle and then grow, but that's not necessarily the case. It could be the other way around.
It's interesting
I don't
because
think the barnacles will ever settle on the living tissue. They prefer to settle on a dead skeleton like you have here.
Nav,
You knew it
the
had
bow
more
thrusters
barnacles.
working
There
real
aren't
hard
as many
to get
plates
us
on
into
the
wind.
top
I'm going
part
to try
as the
coming
shell
to
pellets
starboard, 10 to 12 degrees.
Copy
I hear
that,
you say
starboard.
that, Marion.
Squad
That
lobster
was
on the
my
back
feeling,
side.
that the larva, the cyprid larva, are not
Also
going to settle
crinoid on the bottom.
I noted that the tissue on the lower end of that branch was still present. So whatever happened to it, perhaps it was more incidental. But for example, not a sea star that did it, but some other reason or possible way that the middle part of the tissue could have just been removed on its own.
There's a crinoid on it too.
Absolutely.
The stalks on these
And,
barnacles
the coral
are
could also
different
grow
than what we
back,
normally
right?
see,
And
aren't
so recolonize its own
They're not,
exposed
armored?
skeleton. And so there could be any number of things that could cause the tissue to be removed. Something, a fish banging into it. I noticed there's a very aberrant branch there. I'm not sure if that's what the pilot is zooming in on intentionally, but that could be a sign that there was some predation at some point in the past. Who knows? Maybe an octopus stripped some tissue off and laid an egg here at some point. That's hatched and gone, and the barnacles took advantage of the cleared space.
Scott, are you looking at
Number of possibilities.
Are you looking at the screen right now? Because there are some barnacles that are actually present on the tissue.
They may be on the tissue or they may be on each other. It's hard to tell. Notice that they're feeding like crazy. Look at those feeding tentacles extended there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful view of their clear stalks, Mary. So I guess they don't have any hard covering around those stalks. It's only further up on the barnacle they start making these plates.
You're right, and that's another way you tell the scalpelids from this group. The scalpelids do have little hard plates.
Just look at the top.
And I can't actually see that the barnacles are growing on the tissue. What it looks like to me is the tissue has grown around the base of the barnacle. But, I can't be certain.
That has been reported for some of the barnacles that live on black corals.
Yeah, there's a very good view of what you were just talking about, Scott, I think, right in view now in the fork of that branch.
Yeah, it almost looks like just above the fork on the left side, the uppermost barnacle on the left, it almost looks like there's a lip of tissue kind of curled around the base of the barnacle. So, tough to say, but something to explore in the future.
Great. Well, thank you, pilot. It's a pretty cool little stop. See that?
Yeah.
That is that
And I do think this is another jasonisis, by the way.
Great. Thank you, Scott.
That's a squat lobster. On the other side.
Where is the squat? Oh, on the other side?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a crinoid further down, too. On the opposite
ROV
side.
nav having moved complete.
Thank you, Bridge.
All right, Mary, we're gonna show you a squat in just a second. We're gonna show you a double squat. So, Mary, is this CFI aspis, the Europtychus, or you think it could be something different?
Well, that's what it most closely resembles, but right now there's an argument as to whether there really is any distinction between the genera Gastrotyphus and Chirostylus, and I know that there's some ongoing work on that matter right now. So I would go with Gastrotychus for the time being, but you may have to change the name next year.
Okay, thanks.
Get the other one. The ship's still moving.
Ship has stopped.
We don't want to waste too much time,
A
right?
little bit lighter colored one. And then I think the crinoid is further down. Keep going right there. And another one of these. So there's 3 of these squat lobsters on this colony.
Hey, Mary, what are these things eating? It seems like their arms are always extended, but I've never seen them catch anything.
Actually, I think he's reacting to some pressure wave from the vehicle,
Oh, really?
because they pick with those claws.
So are they feeding on the coral then?
A lot of these fellows
Yeah,
feed
we're
on
falling
coral
behind.
mucus.
I agree. Keep pushing.
Oh,
Have you at
okay.
8-0, pilot.
Okay, we're proceeding up slope.
I'll just note that now that we've got into a very higher gradient and very rocky slope, we're not seeing fishes anymore.
No, we aren't, Bruce. Sorry. But do you have any ideas about that, Bruce? Is it just the fish are finding more feeding in lower terrain, or is it currents and they're trying to stay away from higher currents, or what do you think the reason for that is?
Well, it's probably a combination, but Ken Sulak has suggested that this type of terrain just doesn't have much food for a lot of these fish, particularly things like the halosaurs that would be feeding on animals that would be living in the sediments and maybe emerge from them, like amphipods or polychaetes, things like that. So, we don't know a whole lot about the habitat factors that influence fish abundance here, and hope that this expedition gives some data to help figure some of those things out. But the availability of food probably has a lot to do with it. I don't know. I haven't checked the oxygen levels lately to see if we're in decreasing oxygen in water that has a decreased oxygen content, but food availability would be the main hypothesis.
Well, I'm going to give you the oxygen right now, if my fingers will work right on this. Let's see. Our current oxygen is all over the place. Let me check the Sirius CTD.
Sirius is the better O2 right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's better. So, Bruce, we're about, we're about 1.8 or so, I guess. Is that? Yeah, it's about 1.8, 1.7 milliliters per liter. And down at the bottom, when we were at the bottom of this hill, we might have been around. Actually, excuse me, we're about
the window on the sonar screen.
5, and at the bottom of the hill we might have been around 1.75 or so. So it's dropped by 0.25 maybe milliliters per liter. Not a huge difference in oxygen.
That's a nice arithmetic.
Yeah, so that's relatively small, and so I'd suggest that food is the limiting factor for fishes here.
Thank you, and that's the voice of Bruce Mundy calling in from the NOAA Regional Center on Ford Island. It's Inouye, NOAA Inouye Regional Center on Ford Island. They've got a ECC, an Exploration Command Center out there.
Just continuing to go.
Okay.
So I'm just doing.
Oh, you're out ahead. All right, great. Co-pilot, are you ready for a move?
Yes, sir.
We've been moving at 010. Does that sound good?
It looks good, yeah.
Great. Bridge, nav.
This is the bridge. Go ahead.
Ship move, please. Range 30 meters.
Well, I was hoping that, according to Chris Kelly's law of negativity, that talking about a limiting factor for fishes would make a fish appear, but
speed 0.2.
Good talk.
The problem is, Bruce, that you're not truly negative enough. You are always taking this positive outlook, and I think you're sabotaging yourself there. You need to be really negative. Like, there's no way you're going to see a fish.
South, yes.
While we're talking on the subject of food, if indeed those squat lobsters are stealing mucus that is part of the feeding of the gorgonian, there's a term for things that steal food, although they don't actually damage the tissue, and it's called kleptoparasitism.
Klepto? Like stealing food? Kleptomania?
Kleptoparasitism.
That's interesting. We're doing a little bit of a chair change out here right now.
All right, co-pilot, let me back up real quick. Okay, copy that.
We just got the ship moving, pilot.
Okay, great. Center up.
I'm really hoping we'll get to see another one of those Aspidodiadematids.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, that's
Aspidodiadematids.
The great one that we saw earlier this morning was just ready to release its fecal pellets.
Roland, don't prompt him to do that because I'm going to get sprayed back here if he gives it a try.
Something
We're
on the
still
edge
doing
of
a
that
little bit
rock
of the
at the
change
top,
out, so stand
screen.
by with us. It's a minor break.
Say that again. Video.
top left edge of the near
Top
the
left edge.
yeah of the rock.
Well, I'm afraid I'll have to take a major break and join you for the following day's dive. Go ahead and send me an email if you need anything, and I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Mary, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thanks, Mary. Glad you could
interested.
join
I don't
us.
think so.
Is that still attached?
What?
No, it's not.
Oh.
Sorry, video.
It looks like something's damaged the arms on this one. Don't know if there's anything that would feed on crinoids. Most fish don't feed on echinoderms, at least at these depths.
Yeah.
So underneath, right above the lasers.
It might just be a small one. I'll have to. Oh, there's a little sea anemone underneath that rock there.
Oh, is that copy?
I think that's what it is anyway. Huh. And it's also worth noting that if we close in on some of the sort of the flocculent material on the rock, that we see more of those little frond-like things that we've been seeing ever since the expedition started. There's life all over this place. It's, but some of it is just very cryptic. Is that a... Oh, it's a shrimp. Okay.
Do you want to zoom on shrimp, Lashley?
Yeah, might as well.
Video snap zoom on shrimp.
Yeah, it looks like this is Nematocarcinus. This is a frequently encountered shrimp that we see. Great, thank you.
See, we're still seeing that motor insulation resistance.
I saw it once.
It went down to 86 here. Now it's back up.
For motors, 86.
Yeah, 8600, yeah.
8600, okay, copy. I noted it. I saw it go down once when I was on watch.
Okay. Yeah, and I saw a fault come up on it too. So.
Yeah. We checked the oil yesterday and it looked fine.
Just on that one thruster?
No, we did all of them.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But it looked good.
Yeah.
On all of them.
Copy that. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I'll look back at tickets because that's happened before.
Okay.
Watch, is any interest on this?
No, we've seen these all day today, so it's not
Copy
necessary. We can just proceed up the slope.
Watch with this,
That
Nav.
thing there on the left.
Yes.
Hey, I just sat down. I just want to go over with you real
Yeah,
quick.
that's
Is the? Can you see HiPack on any screen back there?
I think so, but
Okay.
truth be told, Chris Kelly's the one who has the plan for
Okay.
ascending the
I'll
slope.
wait.
So
I shall wait.
yeah, no, sorry.
Yep.
Come back to center. Co-pilot.
What is this little white spot on the right, to the right of the lasers there?
ROV nav bridge,
Just
move
under.
complete.
Copy. Thank you.
Video, come on in.
Oh, okay. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look like it's an animal. Thank you. Yeah, we can just proceed to go up.
Copy that, Washley.
Thank you.
Purple bottom right.
Copy.
Copy.
Nav, here's your choice.
Sure. Watch the nav.
Yeah, hi, Nav, go ahead. Sorry, I
Hey.
was out getting my Starburst at the ship store.
No, it's no problem at all. I just we switched over here, and I want to make sure I'm on the same page as you. Do you have HiPAC back there by any chance?
Yes, I'm looking right at it.
Okay. I see that we have waypoint 2 up here, but we have a target down here. Is our are we trying to get to the center of it?
So
are we trying
here's
to get
a
to
nice
waypoint
purple
2?
Victor Gorgia with...
Or try to go along a ridge?
Yeah, could we go ahead and get right to the tippy top there? We don't
Like
have
right
to go
up
to...
here?
Yeah, right there.
Okay,
Perfect.
great.
And what? Can you tell me what that distance is?
Yes. It appears to be about 270 meters, right to the middle there.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All good, pilot. Thank you.
Copy that.
Victor Gorgia, Victor Gorgia.
Nav, what's ship status?
The ship has stopped. I think it just came within the last minute.
Copy.
And as an update, we have to go 270 meters in the next 95 minutes, so we need to average 0.1.
Copy that.
So as soon as you guys are ready to move,
Yeah,
we
copy.
should.
We're ready.
So rather than stop and look, we might want to...
Yeah, I'm at 45.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, are you still on the line?
Well, they've been doing 30-meter moves, and the
Yes,
last
Chris, I'm here.
move was at
So,
010.
I don't know. I'm starting to get over cones. What about you?
The overall
You're
direction is
getting over
about
cones, yeah.
between 15 and 20
Odd,
degrees.
isn't it?
So
Can't really explain why
How do you
we don't
feel?
see more than we do. Maybe your explanation or
Anything
your
between
hypothesis
north
at
and
the beginning
25
about
degrees
the
is fine.
okay, let's
being
put
more
in a
restricted
So if you need to
to
go
swirling around
15.
the base
Yeah,
and
that's
up
fine.
on the slope and near the top is
perfect.
Yeah,
a
that's
good
gonna make much of a
possibility.
difference.
But
Primo.
our experience so far, it seems like we seem to strike out more with the cones than we do with the ridges.
Yeah, I would agree. So,
Bridge, RV Nav.
I don't know.
Sure.
We'll have to see what we... Well, we're actually going on a ridge tomorrow. And Pilot, could we zoom at
This is
that
the bridge,
sponge right there, please?
We'd like to put in a ship move
Thank
of
you.
30
Yeah,
meters
we're-
at 015,
I
0
think we're
decimal
going to
2
get in
knots.
the dive tomorrow, and that is a ridge.
Alright,
Hopefully, we'll find out in a bit.
Range 30 meters.
Okay,
bearing
so
015.
this is
speed 0.2.
a vase
copy.
sponge.
Coming up.
You're looking right down the mouth of a vase, and maybe more appropriately called a funnel sponge because it's sort of like a funnel. It's a glass sponge in the family Euplectellidae. It's called Atlanticella. We don't see this that often, so it's kind of interesting. It's on this site. You don't see that many other glass sponges. But I don't know what else to say about it, except I collected one of these back in 2002, and that's why it's just, I know what it is.
RV nav, move initiated.
And
Copy, thank you.
You can see a beautiful meshwork if you were to dissolve away that tissue and look at all of the spicules on it. This is a soft sponge, by the way, so it has a very soft texture like a kitchen sponge. You could dissolve the tissue away in bleach, and you find this beautiful arrangement of microscopic parts called spicules that make up the whole skeletal and the framework and so forth of the sponge. And I'm going to leave it at that, and thank you very much, Pilot.
Great. Video come on when you're ready. Awesome.
Red crinoid, we've seen them all day.
Looks like one without a head. That's unfortunate.
There's another one.
There's no interest in zooms on these, right now, Washington?
Not really, no. We've
Copy.
been seeing them pretty regularly, so... Unless there's something weird about one.
Hollow dive?
What was that, Scott? Sorry?
I said, wasn't yesterday the Sleepy Hollow dive?
Yeah, so we...
These headless rhinos?
There will be an operating meeting held in the forward lounge in 5 minutes. Or a deep operating meeting in the forward lounge in 5 minutes.
Yeah, so we can't go Sleepy Hollow Seamount. We could go Ichabod Seamount. It's sort of a You know, and then we could, if we see some more headless creatures here, we could call it crane seamount and just keep working that theme. Horseman seamount.
Guillotine seamount.
Good, yeah, there you go. Guillotine seamount. It got Chris Ma to shake his head, so that was good. That was worth it. All right, we have a unbranched bamboo and a little plexaurid, both of which we've imaged, but we could take a look at the unbranched bamboo. It's probably the same that we've seen all day. This is a nice size one. And what's on the top of it? Oh, it's just a curl, I guess. Okay.
Get over to it.
Like another one, the plexaurid
Video, come on
in front of it, the yellow one. We've seen several of those also today.
Yeah, and we got some good close-ups on at least a couple of those yellow plexaurids.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's not unexpected. The plexaurids are more common as we get shallower, so we are at a slightly shallower depth today than we have been.
Copy. Come on then.
So I am not seeing the really long needles on this, so I'm going to suggest this is the B clade, and Chris, I would agree. I think we've seen this several times today. Unbranched bamboo coral, B clade, B as in boy.
Thank you, Scott. That's how I just annotated it while you were describing it.
It's a white thing right above lasers.
A little bit towards the back.
You know, yesterday toward the end, that's when we saw kind of weird stuff.
Yes.
You know, I'm holding out hope.
It's just dusty.
I'm holding it.
Yes, I agree with you. Yesterday, we had a fairly unusual dive where there was sort of a very low level of diversity observed, and then right towards the end, we had sea spiders, giant sea slugs. Just it's like they popped out of nowhere.
Video, let's do a quick zoom.
Chris, I want to revisit your comment about the, giving up on cones and preferring the ridges. And I know you didn't mean giving up on cones, but I have to say again, the value of the tool that this Okeanos the exploration program via the Okeanos Explorer has offered us to be able to even say that, to visit enough places that we're starting to perhaps see some patterns or think about patterns that we can further explore.
Yeah, I agree, and well put, Scott. And one of the original fascinations with the cones was we would see fields of these cones, and if they all had some type of a really nice community growing on them, then you'd have actually a large-scale high-density community, but kind of split up into little sectors for each cone, and that's why we were so fascinated initially and very eager to find a lot of animals on them, and then we kind of were a little bit disappointed. They weren't very high-density after all, and you weren't going to see these incredible spaced-out high-density communities in these cone fields. So it was a little disappointing. But then the ridges, we never know. We've only sampled a handful of the cones over the years. But the ridges, while not every one of them has had a nice population of animals on them, they still continue to provide some wonderful communities, like a few days ago. There's an Ophi bailing. Is that their equivalent of like bungee jumping or something? Where they?
I think it's, for brittle stars, it's probably more the equivalent of skateboarding off a dock of stairs. But they just I think react to the light or the vibration or something.
Reminds me more of like skydivers.
Skydivers, there you go. I like that.
Chris, one more comment on the cones versus the ridges. I noted at the beginning of the day in our
I've been giving us 3 minutes in between, and then every other one I'll give us a little bit more. That way we'll average 0.1.
And one of those to the northwest of where we're currently driving.
I'll end up stacking
pretty
5
high
meters on the end.
abundance and diversity of corals.
I might end up stacking 5 meters on the end of this one.
And so not all cones are
but it's going to be, and then after the next one I can give it a longer time.
Okay, yeah. Just try to keep it, average
Staggered.
around 0.
Yeah,
so there could
I can
also
do that.
be differences with these cone-like features relative to the
that's
depth of
fine.
water they're in and how important
Bridge,
the
RV nav.
enhancement of current flow is over it relative to depth.
This is the bridge. Go ahead.
Hey, can we put in a ship move, please?
Yeah, I agree, Scott.
30 meters at
It's not yellow,
0.15,
maybe
0
You know,
decimal
we're
knots.
scratching the surface here,
It
as
looks the
we
same.
mentioned before, just because we've done a few
Range 30
cones.
meters, bearing 015.
Seen a bunch of them that are kind of barren. It is good to remember that we did get a cone or two that actually had a pretty good community on it. So, and there's a lot of these cones on the geos across the Pacific too, and these geo flat top seamount. They can appear at different depths. A lot of them are in that 1,200 to 1,500 meter range, but they can appear at different depths, and there could be some really nice cones out there. We just have picked the wrong ones.
ROV nav, move initiated.
Copy.
All right, winds, low 20s.
Sweep across the top of that sponge.
Copy that bridge.
Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
did you get a second rock?
Yeah.
Which one?
Okay.
In the middle, right?
Yeah, the middle. Right where you're.
Got a nice angular one a little while ago.
Oh, that's right.
That looks like a rock pen, another rock pen like we sampled. Oh, could we look at the vase sponge, please? This, Mary had noted that there were some very unusual shrimp that were in one of these that we imaged earlier. Just wanted to take a peek to see
Try to
if
do what you
anyone
can.
was
Look
home in
straight
this
down
one.
the top.
And there's a Victor Gorgia up there. Those are always pretty. But so we had actually seen these white sort of blobs inside this vase sponge earlier. I don't see them now in this one. And perfect view to look down inside and check it out.
I better go for zoom.
Keep scooting forward if you can.
Yeah, I think my toes actually.
I think they've
in
got.
the rock, but I'll do what I can.
Well, I think they've really got only one opportunity to. I don't know. I mean, how do these things get inside?
The shrimp, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if they're larvae and they come into the sidewalls, potentially the sponge could consume them or stop
Not
them.
necessarily. They could be just bigger, or they could just be suspended, or they'd just be too big. They're not carnivorous after all. They're talking single-celled phagocytism. So,
right. But somehow they get into the sponge and then they can't get out. They grow too big to make it out any of these openings, and then you've got a sieve plate over the covering. This is Regadrella probably. And it's a vased euplectellid sponge. And then they're in there for life. That's it. There's no way to get out. That's it. But this sponge is empty, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a good sponge, but no shrimps decided to choose it to set up residence.
Yeah. You happy with that science?
very, very much so. Thank you.
And I'm wondering, is it that they can't get out, or more their point that something else can't get in?
I think it's their point, Roland. I think they're very happy to be inside.
Raise a little family. Shrimps do eggs, right? Lay eggs.
Yeah. So they incubate them under their tails, I think.
Yeah, I think it varies from taxon to taxon. So
Right. Is that a fan over there on that rock, or is that my eyes deceiving me? Maybe we could take a look at this. I'm not sure it's one of these. It could be the same thing, one of these plexoids. I guess it's starting to yellow up now, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Do you want a quick zoom video?
Yeah, it's the same one. Get a there's snap zoom. Looks like his polyps are closed. All right. Yeah, thank you, pilot. We've got a bunch of these. I was hoping it'd be something different.
Let's take a quick look at the sea star.
Oh yeah, right below the laser.
It's got 240 meters.
For a pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Okay. Yep.
Popping sea stars. Yeah, I never really thought of them doing that. So you try to blow it up with air or something, you put your mouth on it, that doesn't get, and then it might pop. But
You ever tried doing that, Chris? It's not a pretty sight.
it would be an alien thing, right? Attached to your face.
Yeah, it's another one of these Bathy Ceramaster things. Looks like it's probably, I'm wondering if they're just feeding off of all of this detritus. Huh.
You're a maximum.
Copy.
Yeah, forams, all sorts of good, yummy goo. Cool. I'll have to make a note of that. There's a big pile of the sediment right underneath the disc, so perhaps sediment, the forams or the organic stuff. Great. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, pilot.
Copy.
I saw Sako Matsumoto's message a little too late, so we'll do that, Sako. If we
The white thing on the top almost looks like a cup
Oh,
coral.
yeah,
one of
bridge.
these, it'd be good if we got a little bit better orientation, but
Top left. So you're
Yeah,
referencing?
top left.
Yeah. There's also a
left
white.
laser.
Is it a coral or is that like a little cup or is that just a another sediment illusion? It's a sediment illusion. Oh well.
yeah. Pilot,
Oh no, it is a cup.
Where?
There on the left laser.
Yeah, there it is. It's
Ah.
a dead cup coral.
Yeah, it's a dead cup coral, but better than nothing.
Well,
Alas.
Pilot, after this, is there any chance you could swing right and you're kind of in broadside to that yellow fan? We had a request from the event log if we could. This is from Asako Matsumoto who works on these. Yeah, that's it.
Video swapping out.
I don't know if we can get a broadside on it.
Yeah, just.
Chris, I apologize. I don't know if you noted it already, but it does seem like the frequency and abundance of these yellow fans is increasing as we go up the slope here.
I didn't note it verbally, Scott, but I did note it mentally because I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 colonies in view right now, so I do think they are increasing.
And since I know Annie's interested in the associates, we'll note that each of them and all the ones we've seen,
video
I
whenever you're
think,
ready.
has
Come
a
on in.
single ophiuroid in the branches.
Video coming in.
You can often see from a distance, you get these sort of yellow paddle-shaped fans, and they're kind of pinkish red in the center, and that's an indication that there's going to be one of these brittle stars clinging to the branches.
Okay, we're looking back at you now, pilot.
Copy that. Science, is this what you wanted?
Yes, it is. Masako wanted to get a better look. She works on this group of corals, and it's also nice for Tim Shank to get a look at the commensal there.
Copy that. I can only hold this for a few more seconds before I need to push ahead.
I think that's good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, video come on, please. And then copilot, I'll push out.
Okay.
I see Tim Shank is in the event log, and Tim, if you can hear me, I had noted earlier you had done the study on the New England seamounts in the North Atlantic about the relationship of ophiuroids with different corals, and I remember you had some percentage frequency at the time that these particular astrosschematids